I am sitting in the corner of my own living room, surrounded by the noise of Christmas, but I have never felt more invisible. My phone buzzes in my hand. It's a notification from Facebook. Against my better judgment, I unlock the screen and click on it. And there it is, a photo of me and my daughter-in-law, Rachel. It was taken less than 10 minutes ago. In the picture, Rachel is beaming. Her skin is flawless, her makeup is perfect, and she has her head tilted affectionately toward mine. She looks like the loving, doting daughter-in-law every mother dreams of. Then there is me. I see the tightness around my eyes. I see the stiff, forced curve of my lips. To a stranger, I probably look like a happy grandmother enjoying the holiday. But I know the truth. I look at that woman in the photo, and I see a mask of pain. I read the caption below the photo, and my stomach turns. So blessed to be with the best mother-in-law in the world. Hashtag family first. Hashtag Christmas blessings. The best mother-in-law in the world. I almost laugh out loud, but I hold it in. The irony is bitter. The woman who typed those words hasn't looked me in the eye since she walked through my front door an hour ago. Let me tell you what actually happened 10 minutes before that post went live. Rachel didn't ask if I wanted a photo. She didn't ask how I was feeling or compliment the decorations I spent 3 days putting up. She simply marched over to where I was standing near the tree, grabbed my shoulder, and physically positioned me into the light. "The lighting is bad over there. Michelle, move here," she had said. Her voice wasn't yelling, but it had that sharp, icy edge she saves just for me. She adjusted my collar without asking, brushed a stray hair off my forehead with a look of mild disgust, and then held up her phone. "Smile, Michelle," she commanded, "and try to look natural this time. Last year, you looked miserable." I smiled, because that's what I do. That's what I've done for 4 years. I smiled because my son, Raymond, was watching from the couch, pretending not to notice the way his wife treats his mother. I smiled because my grandchildren, Lily and Charlie, were playing on the floor, and I didn't want to ruin their magic. As soon as the camera clicked, Rachel pulled away from me like I was contagious. The smile dropped from her face instantly. She didn't say thank you. She didn't show me the picture. She just turned her back to me, began tapping furiously on her screen, and walked away to find a better signal. And now, 10 minutes later, here it is, the evidence of our perfect relationship for all her 500 friends to see. This is the 4th Christmas in a row we have played this game. The first year, I thought maybe I was imagining the coldness. I thought maybe she was just stressed or shy. I told myself that modern women are just different, that I needed to adjust. I tried so hard to be the mother-in-law she wanted. I cooked her favorite foods. I bought thoughtful gifts. I bit my tongue when she criticized my furniture or my clothes. But by year 2, I knew it wasn't me. And now, in year 4, the charade is exhausting. I am tired of being a prop in her curated life. I am tired of my home, the home my late husband George and I built with so much love, being treated like a backdrop for her social media feed. I look around the room. The house smells like pine and cinnamon, just the way George loved it. The tree is sparkling with the ornaments we collected over 40 years of marriage. But the air feels heavy. It feels suffocating. I watch Rachel across the room. She is showing the phone to Raymond. "Look, honey, it already has 50 likes," she says, her voice sickly sweet. Raymond nods, offering her a weak smile. He looks tired. He looks defeated. He doesn't look over at me. I swallow the lump in my throat. I want to scream. I want to throw everyone out. I want to tell her that love isn't a hashtag you type on a screen. It's the respect you show people when the camera is off. But I don't. I lock my phone and place it face down on the coffee table. Just get through the day. I whisper to myself. Do it for Lily. Do it for Charlie. I take a deep breath, stand up, and smooth down my dress. I will play my part. I will be the gracious host. I will be the best mother-in-law. But as I walk toward the kitchen to check on the dinner that Rachel has already insulted twice today, I feel something different this year. The sadness is still there, yes, but underneath the sadness, there is something else. A spark, a heat. I am getting tired of the fake love, and I don't know how much longer I can keep that smile on my face. I stand in the archway between the kitchen and the dining room, taking a moment just to breathe in the air of my own home. If you closed your eyes, you would know exactly what day it is just by the smell. It's a thick, warm mix of roasting turkey, sage stuffing, and the sweet, heavy scent of caramelized pecans. This isn't just a holiday smell to me. It is the scent of 40 years of my life. George and I bought this house in Parkland 4 decades ago, back when the driveway was cracked and the palm trees in the front yard were barely taller than I was. We raised Raymond here. We scraped our knees and patched the drywall and celebrated every single milestone within these walls. For 40 years, this house has been the heartbeat of our family, and Christmas has always been the rhythm that kept it beating. My eyes drift to the sideboard where my holiday pie sits cooling. It's a pecan pie, but not just any recipe. It was my mother's and her mother's before that. The crust has to be made with ice water and vinegar, a trick most people have forgotten. And the pecans have to be toasted in butter before they go into the filling. It takes hours. My arthritis flares up when I roll the dough now, sending sharp little pains through my knuckles, but I do it anyway. I do it because when Raymond takes that first bite, for a split second, he looks like my little boy again. I do it because traditions are the ropes that tie a family together when everything else tries to pull them apart. I walk over to the Christmas tree in the corner of the living room. It is a big, wide Douglas fir, smelling of fresh pine needles. It is not a designer tree. You won't find a color scheme here. There are no matching ribbons or strategically placed glass baubles meant to look good on Instagram. My tree is a history book. I reach out and gently touch a faded construction paper star near the bottom branch. The glitter has mostly fallen off, and one of the points is bent, but I would save this star in a fire before I saved my jewelry. Raymond made it in kindergarten. I remember the day he brought it home, his little face smeared with glue, so proud to hand it to me. "For you, Mommy," he had said. Next to it hangs a ceramic Santa that George bought for our very first Christmas together. It's chipped on the hat, but I hang it front and center every single year. Since George passed away 5 years ago, these objects have become more than just decorations. They are evidence. They are proof that we were happy, that we were loud, and that this house was full of love. When George died, the silence in this house was deafening. I realized very quickly that I had a choice. I could let the silence win, or I could fill the space. I decided to become the glue. I told myself that as long as I kept the traditions alive, the pie, the tree, the dinner, the family would stay intact. I would be the keeper of the memories. But lately, it feels like I am the only one who remembers. I look across the room at Rachel. She is sitting on my floral sofa, careful not to let her dress touch the floor. Rachel's style is very modern. Her home is beautiful, I suppose, if you like that sort of thing. It looks like a page out of a catalog. Everything is white, beige, or gray. There are no family photos on her walls, just abstract art. There are no knickknacks, no clutter, no evidence that people actually live there. She calls it minimalist. She says it's clean. To me, it feels cold. I remember the first time she really criticized my home. It was 2 years ago. She was standing right where I am standing now, looking at the tree. She had a glass of wine in her hand and a tight little smile on her face. "Michelle," she had said, her voice light and breezy, Have you ever thought about editing? I hadn't understood what she meant. Editing what? I asked. The ornaments, she said, gesturing vaguely with her wine glass. It's just all a bit cluttered, isn't it? All these mismatched things. If you tossed the old ones and just did a silver and white theme, it would open up the room so much. It would look more sophisticated. I remember feeling like she had slapped me. She wasn't talking about things. She was talking about my life. She was calling my son's childhood projects and my dead husband's gifts clutter. She looked at my memories and saw trash that needed to be tossed to match a color scheme. I brushed it off that day. I laughed nervously and said, "Oh, I'm too sentimental for that." I didn't want to cause a scene. I didn't want to be the sensitive mother-in-law. But the comment stayed with me. It grew roots in my chest. Now, watching her sit in my living room, I can feel that tension radiating off her. She looks at my mantle, covered in garland and stockings, and I see her nose wrinkle just slightly. She doesn't see the warmth. She sees a mess. She sees something outdated. It hurts because this isn't just about taste. It's about values. I value the history of things. She values the look of things. I value the messy, imperfect reality of family. She values the polished, filtered image of it. Raymond is sitting next to her, scrolling on his phone. He used to love this house. He used to help me put up the village on the side table, carefully placing the little ceramic houses exactly where they went the year before. Now, he sits in the middle of it all like a stranger. He doesn't look at the tree. He doesn't ask about the pie. He just exists in the space, waiting for the clock to run out, so they can leave. The family glue is starting to feel very weak. I look at the empty chair at the head of the table where George used to sit. He would have never let them make me feel small in my own home. He would have roared with laughter, poured everyone a drink, and told Rachel that the clutter was the best part. But George isn't here. It's just me. And as I look at my beautiful, messy, history-filled Christmas tree, I realize that I am fighting a battle I am slowly losing. The modern world, with its white walls and fake Facebook posts, is trying to erase us, and I am the only one left standing in the way. Have you ever found yourself smiling for a family photo while your heart was actually breaking? It is a lonely feeling, isn't it? I want to know who is standing with me today. Please, tell me where you are watching from in the comments below. Let's see how many of us are out there. To understand why I am sitting here today, shaking with anger over a store-bought pie, you have to go back exactly 1 week. It was a Tuesday morning. I was in the kitchen, sitting at the small breakfast table where I have my coffee every single day. I was feeling good. I had my master Christmas list spread out in front of me. If you are anything like me, you know that list. It is the roadmap for the entire holiday. I had checked off the turkey order, confirmed the flour delivery for the centerpiece, and I was just double-checking the ingredients for the sweet potato casserole, the one with the brown sugar and pecan topping that Raymond has asked for every year since he was 5 years old. The sun was streaming through the window, and I remember thinking, this is going to be a good year. I felt in control. Then the phone rang. I looked at the caller ID and saw Rachel's name. I honestly smiled. I thought maybe she was calling to ask what time they should arrive, or perhaps to ask if I needed help with the shopping. I picked up the phone, ready to be warm and welcoming. "Hello, Rachel." I was just looking at the... "Hi, Michelle." She cut me off. There was no, "How are you?" no small talk. Her voice was brisk, like she was speaking to an employee who was late for a shift. "Listen, I've been thinking about the menu for next week, and we need to make some updates." I paused, my pen hovering over my list. "Updates? What do you mean, dear?" "I've already ordered the turkey and the ham." "The turkey is fine," she said quickly. "It's the sides." I was talking to some of the girls at Pilates, and honestly, Michelle, that traditional menu is just so heavy. It's very 1990s. Nobody eats like that anymore. It's all butter and cream and sugar. It puts everyone in a food coma. I felt a flush of heat rise up my neck. Well, it's Christmas, Rachel. It's comfort food. It's what Raymond loves. Raymond needs to watch his cholesterol, she snapped back. And honestly, I don't want the kids eating all that processed sugar. So, I'm going to bring a kale and quinoa salad with a lemon vinaigrette, and I think we should skip the sweet potato casserole this year. And probably the green bean casserole, too. It's just too much gray food. I stared at the list in front of me. Gray food. My green bean casserole is made with fresh green beans and crisp onions. It is delicious. But before I could argue, she bulldozed right over me. Also, she continued, her voice shifting into that fake cheerful tone that usually signals bad news. I wanted to talk to you about the entryway. The entryway? I looked toward the front door from the kitchen. Is something wrong with it? Well, I'm planning to shoot a few reels for my Instagram when we walk in. Capture the arrival magic for the followers. But, Michelle, the nutcrackers on the console table, they're a lot. I gripped the phone tighter. Those nutcrackers, George gave me one of those every year for 20 years. My collection is finally complete. I know, sentimental value and all that, she sighed, sounding bored. But visually, it's just a lot of noise. It looks chaotic in the background of the video. It clashes with the outfits I bought for the kids. Could you just put them away? Just for the day? I want a clean, neutral background when we walk in. Maybe just some fresh white candles instead. My mouth opened, but no words came out. She was asking me to hide my husband's gifts. She was asking me to erase 20 years of memories because they clashed with an outfit she bought for a 10-second video on the internet. I should have said no. I should have told her that this is my house, not a film set. I should have told her that if she wants a neutral background, she can stay in her own beige living room. But I didn't. Fear is a funny thing. It doesn't always feel like a racing heart. Sometimes it just feels like silence. I was afraid that if I said no, she would find a reason not to come. I was afraid she would tell Raymond I was being difficult again. I was afraid she would keep Lily and Charlie away. So I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Okay, I said, my voice sounding small and weak in my own kitchen. I can move them to the den. Great, she said, and don't worry about the sides. I'll bring the salad. It'll be much fresher. Gotta run, bye. The line went dead. I sat there for a long time, listening to the dial tone. The sun was still shining, but the warmth had gone out of the room. I looked down at my master list. Slowly, with a shaking hand, I drew a line through sweet potato casserole. Then I got up. I walked to the entryway. I picked up the first nutcracker, the one George bought me in 1995, the one with the velvet cape. I looked at his painted wooden face, and I felt tears prick my eyes. I'm sorry, George, I whispered. I packed them away in a cardboard box and shoved them into the hall closet. I replaced them with 3 plain white candles I found in the junk drawer. I stood back and looked at the empty table. It looked cold. It looked generic. It looked exactly like Rachel wanted it to look. That was the first crack. That was the moment I realized that she didn't just want to change the menu. She wanted to edit me out of my own holiday. I told myself I did it to keep the peace. But looking at that empty table, I didn't feel peaceful. I felt defeated. And little did I know, that phone call was just the beginning. It is 11 o'clock on Christmas Eve. The house is finally quiet. The only sound is the low hum of the refrigerator and the occasional creak of the floorboards settling for the night. I am standing at the kitchen island, a rag in one hand and a jar of silver polish in the other. The smell of the polish is sharp and chemical, a scent that takes me back to my own mother's kitchen 50 years ago. In front of me, spread out on an old towel, is the family silver. It's the heavy stuff, the real sterling silver service for 12 that George's grandmother brought over from Italy. My hands ache. The arthritis in my knuckles is throbbing, a dull, constant pain that usually sends me to bed with a heating pad by 9 o'clock. But tonight, I am awake. Tonight, I am polishing. I pick up a heavy dinner fork. It is tarnished, coated in a dull, yellowish film. I dip the rag into the pink paste and start to rub, round and round, friction and pressure. It takes effort to strip away the tarnish and find the shine underneath. As I work, I catch my reflection in the back of a spoon. I look tired. I look older than I feel. And I wonder for the 100th time tonight why I am doing this. Rachel won't notice the silver. If she does, she will probably make a comment about how fussy it is or how it must be a nightmare to clean. She prefers stainless steel, things you can throw in the dishwasher and forget about. Raymond won't notice either. He used to know the difference. He used to know that we only brought this silver out for the most important meals. Now he will probably just look at his phone while he eats, oblivious to the history he is holding in his hand. I rub the fork harder, angry at the tarnish, angry at the silence. I look up toward the living room. The lights on the tree are off, but the moonlight is coming through the sheer curtains, illuminating the mantelpiece. There, right in the center, is a framed photo of George. It was taken the Christmas before he got sick. He is wearing that ridiculous red sweater with the reindeer on it, the one he swore he hated but wore every year because it made me laugh. In the photo, he is holding a glass of eggnog, his head thrown back in laughter. You can practically hear his voice just looking at it. He was so loud. He was so full of life. He took up so much space in a room that you never felt lonely when he was there. I put the fork down and walk over to the mantel. I pick up the frame. The glass is cool against my fingertips. I miss you, George, I whisper into the empty room. But as I look at his smiling face, I don't just feel sadness. I feel shame. If George were here, those nutcrackers would still be in the hallway. If George were here, he would have told Rachel, politely but firmly, that in this house we eat sweet potato casserole, not quinoa salad. He would have laughed at her Instagram aesthetic and told her to put the phone away and have a drink. George was kind, but he had a backbone of steel. He protected this home. He protected us. And what have I done since he left? I have retreated. I have made myself smaller. I have let Rachel come in with her updates and her edits, and I have stepped aside. I told myself I was doing it for Raymond. I told myself I was keeping the peace. I thought that if I just gave in, if I just let her have her way, eventually she would be happy. Eventually she would accept me. But looking at George's face, the truth hits me hard. It feels cold and heavy in my stomach. I haven't been keeping the peace. I have been keeping the silence. And there is a big difference. By letting her erase our traditions, I am letting her erase George. When I packed those nutcrackers away in the dark closet like something to be ashamed of, I was hiding a piece of him. When I agreed to change the menu he loved, I was devaluing his memory. I look back at the kitchen island, at the silver shining in the dim light. That silver has survived 3 generations. It has survived wars, moves, and toddlers throwing it on the floor. It has survived because someone took the time to care for it. Someone took the time to polish it when it got dull. Relationships are the same way. And right now, my relationship with my son is tarnished. It is covered in a layer of neglect and fear. I have been so afraid of losing him that I have let him become a stranger in his own childhood home. I have watched him turn into a shadow of the man his father raised him to be, and I have said nothing. I realized then that my silence wasn't noble. It was cowardly. I traced the edge of the picture frame. I'm sorry I let it get this bad. I say to George, but I'm going to fix it. I walk back to the kitchen. My hands still ache, but I don't care. I pick up the rag again. I pick up the serving spoon, the big one we use for the stuffing. I start to scrub. I scrub with a new energy. I scrub until my arm burns. Tomorrow, they will come. Rachel will walk in with her phone out, ready to direct the scene. She will look for the clean aesthetic. She will look for the submissive mother-in-law who smiles on command and hides in the kitchen. But that woman isn't going to be here tomorrow. I finish the last piece of silver and lay it out on the table. It gleams bright and defiant against the towel. It looks beautiful. It looks like us. I turn off the kitchen light and head toward the stairs. I am tired. Yes, my body is old and my heart is heavy. But as I climb the steps to my lonely bedroom, I feel something I haven't felt in 4 years. I feel ready. Let her bring her camera. Let her bring her salad. I have polished the silver. I have prepared the turkey. And for the first time since George died, I am prepared to defend my home. The clock on the oven reads 1:58 p.m. They are 2 minutes early. I am standing by the front window, peering through the sheer curtains like a spy in my own home. My heart is doing a nervous flutter in my chest, that specific kind of anxiety that only family can bring. It shouldn't be this way. I should be feeling the warm, eager anticipation of a grandmother waiting to spoil her babies. Instead, I feel like a student waiting to be called into the principal's office. A sleek, black SUV pulls into the driveway. It's huge, shiny, and looks out of place next to my 10-year-old sedan. The engine cuts off, and for a moment, nobody moves. I can imagine the pep talk happening inside. Rachel is probably checking her lipstick in the visor mirror, reminding the kids to behave and telling Raymond to fix his collar. Then, the doors fly open. The first things I see are pink and blue coats. Lily and Charlie tumble out of the back seat, and my heart instantly softens. This is why I do it. This is why I polished the silver at midnight. This is why I hid the nutcrackers. For them. I open the front door before they even reach the porch. The cold December air rushes in, mixing with the warm smell of roasting turkey. "Grandma!" Charlie yells, launching himself at my legs. He hits me with the force of a cannonball, wrapping his little arms around my waist. Lily, now 10 and trying to be more grown-up, offers a polite smile before stepping in for a hug. "Merry Christmas, my loves," I say, burying my face in Charlie's hair. He smells like cold air and peppermint. For 5 seconds, everything is perfect. Then, the heels click on the pavement. Rachel walks up the steps. She looks stunning. I have to give her that. She is wearing a cream-colored cashmere coat that probably costs more than my first car, and her hair is blown out in perfect glossy waves. She is carrying a large, white bakery box in both hands, holding it out like it's a crown jewel. "Merry Christmas, Michelle," she says. She doesn't hug me. She leans in and offers her cheek, making a kissing sound near my ear without actually touching me. "Here, Raymond, take this," she commands, passing the box to my son, who is trailing behind her carrying 3 bags of gifts. "Hi, Mom," Raymond mumbles. He looks exhausted. His eyes dart to mine for a second and then slide away, focusing on the floor. "Where should I put this?" "The kitchen island is fine," I say, stepping back to let them in. Rachel steps into the foyer and immediately stops. She stands there, scanning the room. Her eyes move from the floor to the ceiling, assessing, judging. She looks at the console table, the one that used to hold my nutcracker collection. It is now empty, save for the 3 white candles she requested. Oh, good, she says, a small nod of approval. That looks so much better. Much more breathable. Doesn't it feel less chaotic to you? I force a smile. It's very clean. Right, she says, already moving on. Okay, let's get this done while my makeup is fresh. This is the moment from the beginning of my story. She herds us into the living room. She arranges us. She snaps the photo. She posts it. Best mother-in-law ever. The performance is executed with military precision. As soon as the phone is back in her pocket, the warmth evaporates. I'm going to check on the food, I say, needing to escape. Dinner is almost ready. I'll come with you, Rachel says. I need to unbox the dessert. I freeze. Oh, you didn't need to bring dessert, Rachel. I made the pie, the pecan pie Raymond loves. She waves a hand dismissively. I know, but just wait until you see this. We walk into the kitchen. It is hot and smells wonderful. On the counter, cooling on a wire rack, is my pie. It is not perfect. The crust is a little uneven on one side, and the filling has bubbled up over the edge in a sticky, caramelized ring. But it is golden brown, dark, and rich. It looks like home. Raymond is standing by the island, still holding the white box. Rachel takes it from him. Move that over. Honey, she says to Raymond, gesturing to my pie. Rachel, there's not really room. Raymond starts. Just slide it back, she says. Raymond looks at me, an apology in his eyes, and then slides my pie backward, pushing it behind the coffee maker, half hidden by a stack of mail. Rachel places her box front and center on the granite. She lifts the lid with a flourish. Inside is a tart. I suppose you could call it a pie, but it looks more like a science experiment. It is perfectly flat. The top is arranged with razor-thin apple slices in a geometric spiral that looks like it was measured with a ruler. It is glazed so heavily it shines like plastic. It sits on a gold cardboard disc. La Pâtisserie, she says, naming a bakery in town where a single cookie costs $6. I ordered it 3 weeks ago. Isn't it stunning? It's very pretty, I say quietly, but Rachel, the kids usually look forward to the pecan pie. It's the family recipe. She looks at me, and for a second, her mask slips. She looks at my pie, my bubbling, messy, homemade pie hiding behind the coffee maker. And then she looks at her glossy $60 tart. Michelle, she says, her voice dropping to that patronizing tone she uses when she explains technology to me. Yours is nice. It's charming. But look at this. She points to her tart. This photographs beautifully. It's elegant. We're trying to elevate the holiday, remember? We want things to look intentional. Intentional. I ask. My pie is intentional. I peeled the pecans by hand. You know what I mean, she sighs, acting like I'm being difficult. Yours looks a little rustic, messy. This one looks professional. We'll serve this one for the main dessert. And if anyone is still hungry, we can bring yours out later. Okay? She doesn't wait for an answer. She turns to Raymond. Ray, get a picture of the tart on the island before we cut it. The lighting is good right now. Raymond pulls out his phone. He starts taking pictures of the store-bought tart. Just then, Lily wanders into the kitchen. Grandma, can I lick the spoon? She asks, eyeing the sink. Then she spots the counter. She looks at the fancy tart, then spots my pie pushed into the shadows. Oh, you made the sticky pie, she cheers, pointing to mine. Mom, Grandma made the sticky pie. Can we have that now? Rachel stiffens. She turns to her daughter. Lily, no. We are having this apple tart. It's from the special bakery. It's very expensive, and it's much better for you. But I don't like apple tart. Lily whines. I like the brown sugar one. Lily, Rachel's voice is sharp now. Stop it. We are eating the tart. It's what I brought. Don't be rude to Grandma by refusing the guest's dessert. I feel the blood rush to my face. Rude to Grandma? She is twisting the logic so fast I can barely keep up. She is using manners to force her daughter to reject my food. I look at Raymond. He is still holding his phone, looking down at the fancy tart. Raymond, I say, my voice shaking just a little. You like the pecan pie. Tell her. Raymond looks up. He looks at his wife, who is staring at him with wide, expectant eyes. Then he looks at me. He looks at the pie he has eaten every Christmas for 40 years. The apple tart looks great, Mom. He says softly. It was nice of Rachel to bring it. Let's just eat the tart. The air leaves my lungs. It isn't about the pie. It is never about the pie. It is about the fact that my labor, my history, and my love are being pushed behind the coffee maker because they aren't pretty enough for a picture. Fine, I say. My voice sounds hollow. We'll eat the tart. Rachel claps her hands together. Perfect. Now, let's get everyone to the table. I want to do a toast before the turkey gets dry. She sweeps out of the room, dragging Lily with her. Raymond follows. I am left alone in the kitchen. The smell of the turkey is overwhelming now. I look at the La Pâtisserie box sitting like a throne on my island. Then I look at my pie, shoved into the corner. I reach out and touch the warm glass of my pie dish. It's still hot. It's real. It was made with these hands. It's not rustic. I whisper to the empty room, tears stinging my eyes. It's real. But nobody is here to hear me. They are all in the dining room, waiting for the show to begin. And I have to go out there and serve them. But as I pick up the carving knife to slice the turkey, my grip tightens on the handle. I am done being pushed into the corner. I stood in the center of the kitchen, my hand gripping the edge of the granite countertop until my knuckles turned white. The air was filled with the sound of my own heartbeat, loud and thudding in my ears, drowning out the murmur of voices coming from the dining room. Through the open doorway, I watched them. Rachel was laughing at something, her head thrown back, holding court at the head of my table. But my eyes were fixed on Raymond. He was standing by the sideboard, looking for the wine opener. He looked frantic, his eyes darting around, trying to fulfill whatever silent command his wife had just given him. He grabbed 2 bottles of red wine and turned toward the pantry, likely looking for the fancy crystal glasses I keep on the top shelf, the ones Rachel insists we use because my everyday goblets are too chunky. This was my chance. I didn't think. I just moved. My legs carried me across the kitchen floor, past the island where that ridiculous $60 tart sat like a monument to my replacement, and straight toward the pantry. Raymond had just stepped inside the small, narrow room lined with shelves of canned goods and spare linens. He had his back to me, reaching up for the stemware. I stepped in behind him and quietly pushed the door until it clicked shut. The sudden silence in the small space was heavy. The smell of dry pasta and old spices surrounded us. It was a space where I used to hide Christmas presents when he was a boy. Now, it felt like an interrogation room. Raymond froze. He didn't turn around immediately. He knew I was there. I could see the tension in his shoulders, the way his neck stiffened. He slowly lowered his arm, leaving the glasses on the shelf. "Mom," he said, not turning around. His voice was a heavy sigh. "We need the wine. Rachel is waiting." "Look at me, Raymond," I said. My voice was low, shaking with a mixture of rage and a terrifying sadness I couldn't quite name. He turned slowly. He looked like a man walking to the gallows. He wouldn't meet my eyes. He looked at the shelf of tomato sauce over my left shoulder. He looked at the floor. He looked anywhere but at his mother. "Did you hear what she said out there?" I asked, stepping closer to him. The pantry was small, forcing us into an intimacy he clearly wanted to escape. "Did you see what she did, Raymond?" "She took the pie," The pie I spent 4 hours making. The pie you have asked for every single year since you were 5 years old. And she shoved it behind the coffee maker like it was garbage. Raymond rubbed his face with his hand, a gesture of exhaustion I had seen his father do 1,000 times. But when George did it, it was after a long day of work. When Raymond did it, it looked like avoidance. "Mom, please," he said, his voice tight. She didn't shove it. She just moved it. She wanted the island to look nice for the pictures. You know how she is about the presentation. Presentation? I repeated the word, feeling it taste like ash in my mouth. Raymond, she humiliated me in front of my grandchildren. She told Lily that my food wasn't good enough. And you stood there. You stood there and took pictures of a tart made by strangers instead of defending your own mother. Finally, he looked at me, but I didn't see the anger I expected. I didn't see the apology I hoped for. I saw annoyance. "It is just a pie, Mom," he snapped. The words hit me harder than a slap. I actually took a step back, stumbling slightly against the doorframe. "It's not about the pie," I whispered. "It's about respect. It's about the fact that I am a guest in my own home." She walks in here, insults my decorations, changes my menu, hides my husband's collection, and treats me like hired help. And you say nothing. Raymond let out a loud groan, throwing his hands up. "Oh my God, here we go. I knew you were going to do this." I told her, "Mom is going to find something to be upset about." And here we are. I stared at him. My breath caught in my throat. "You told her I would find something to be upset about. You discussed me with her. You prepared her for me. She's my wife, Mom." Raymond's voice rose, cracking with frustration. "And frankly, she's right. You are being dramatic. It's Christmas. Can't you just swallow your pride for one afternoon? Why does everything have to be a battle with you?" A battle. I felt tears pricking my eyes, hot and stinging. I have never fought her, Raymond. For 4 years, I have bitten my tongue until it bled. I have changed everything to please her. I have let her erase me. And the one time I ask you to stand up for me, you call me dramatic? He shook his head, reaching for the door handle behind me. "I'm not doing this right now. The kids are waiting. We are going to go out there. We are going to drink the wine. We are going to eat the apple tart. And you are going to smile. Please, Mom, just let it go. For me." He reached past me, his arm brushing against my shoulder, and opened the pantry door. The noise of the house rushed back in, Rachel's high-pitched laughter, the clatter of silverware. "Coming, honey," Raymond called out, his voice instantly changing from the angry snarl he used on me to a cheerful, obedient tone for his wife. He grabbed the wine bottles and walked out, leaving me standing alone in the dark pantry. I stood there for a long time. I looked at the shelves of food. I looked at the cereal boxes I bought, because I know Charlie likes the sugary kind his mother forbids. I looked at the jar of specialized vitamins I buy for Raymond, because I worry about his health. Every item on these shelves was an act of love. Every box was bought with them in mind. And in return, I was called dramatic. I realized something then, standing in the shadows. I had been blaming Rachel this whole time. I had made her the villain in my mind. I thought she was the shark and Raymond was just the helpless swimmer caught in her wake. I was wrong. Raymond wasn't helpless. He was making a choice. He wasn't silent because he was afraid. He was silent because it was easier. He was silent because sacrificing my feelings was the price of his peaceful life, and he was willing to pay it. He knew I loved him unconditionally, so he treated me like I was disposable. He knew Rachel's love was conditional, so he worked tirelessly to earn it. He had just looked me in the eye and told me that my dignity was less important than his wife's Instagram aesthetic. The boy who used to run to me when he scraped his knee was gone. The teenager who used to sit at the kitchen counter and tell me about his day while I cooked that pecan pie was gone. The man who walked out of this pantry was a stranger. He was a coward. A deep, cold calm settled over me. It was heavier than the anger. It was the weight of a door closing forever. I wiped the single tear that had escaped down my cheek. I didn't wipe it away to hide it. I wiped it away because he didn't deserve to see it. I straightened my back. I adjusted the collar of my blouse. "Okay, Raymond," I whispered to the empty shelves. "You want me to let it go? I'll let it go." But I wasn't talking about the pie. I stepped out of the pantry and walked back into the bright, loud kitchen. I saw them all sitting at the table. Raymond was pouring the wine, smiling that fake, nervous smile. Rachel was directing Lily on how to hold her napkin. They looked up as I entered. "There she is," Rachel chirped, sounding annoyed that I had taken so long. "We were about to start without you. Did you get lost?" Raymond didn't look up. He stared at his plate, terrified I was going to make a scene. I walked to my chair, the one at the end of the table, opposite the empty chair where George used to sit. I sat down. I placed my napkin in my lap. I looked at the store-bought tart sitting in the center of the table like a trophy. "No," I said, my voice perfectly steady. "I didn't get lost. I was just finding something I misplaced." "Oh," Rachel asked, bored. "What was it?" "My clarity," I said. Rachel blinked, confused. Raymond's head snapped up, fear flashing in his eyes. He knew that tone. It was the tone I used when he was 16 and missed curfew. It was the tone of a mother who is done negotiating. But I didn't say anything else. I just picked up my fork. The betrayal was complete. My son had chosen his side. And now, for the first time in my life, I was going to choose mine. The silence in the room was thick, but this time I wasn't the one suffocating in it. I was the one controlling it. If you think a son has a duty to stand up for his mother, drop a "Speak Up Raymond" in the comments right now. He needs to hear us. And if you are ready to see me finally take my power back, hit that like button and subscribe. You are not going to want to miss what happens at the dinner table. Dinner is supposed to be the highlight of the day. In the movies, this is the scene where the music swells, the wine flows, and everyone laughs in slow motion. In my house, for the last 4 years, dinner has been an endurance sport. We are sitting at the dining room table, the same mahogany table where I hosted my husband's 50th birthday, the same table where Raymond did his homework for 12 years. Now, it feels like a battlefield where the ceasefire is about to break. The only sound in the room is the scraping of silverware against china. Clink, scrape, chew. It is a nervous, jagged rhythm. I am sitting at one end, and Rachel is at the other. Raymond is in the middle, hunched over his plate like he is trying to make himself invisible. He is eating the turkey fast, shoveling it in, likely hoping that if he finishes quickly enough, he can escape to the living room to watch football and pretend none of this is happening. I look at the food on the table. The turkey is moist and golden. The stuffing is savory. But right next to the gravy boat sits that plastic container of kale and quinoa salad Rachel insisted on bringing. It sits there unopened. Even she isn't eating it. It was never about the food. It was about control. This turkey is... Okay, Rachel says suddenly, breaking the silence. She doesn't look at me. She is poking at a piece of white meat with her fork. "It's a little dry, isn't it? Maybe next year we should try brining it? Or honestly, we could just order a catered meal. It would save you so much work, Michelle. You look so tired." My hand tightens around my fork. Tired. That is her favorite word for me. It is her polite way of saying old and irrelevant. "The turkey is fine, Rachel," Raymond says, his mouth half full. It is the first time he has spoken in 20 minutes. "It's delicious, Mom." I'm just saying. Rachel shrugs, taking a sip of wine. The wine Raymond poured for her in the kitchen, while I stood alone in the pantry. I'm trying to help. Traditions are nice, but sometimes they just become burdens. Don't you think? I don't answer. I can't answer. If I open my mouth right now, I will scream. So I just take a bite of my stuffing. It tastes like cardboard. I have lost my appetite completely. I look over at Lily and Charlie. They are quiet, too. Children are like barometers. They can feel the atmospheric pressure in a room long before the adults acknowledge the storm. Lily is pushing her peas around her plate, looking from her mother to me, with wide, worried eyes. She knows something is wrong. Rachel picks up her phone again. She has had it next to her plate the entire meal, the screen lighting up every few seconds with notifications. She taps the screen, smiles at something a stranger wrote on her wall, and then looks up at us. "Okay, guys," she announces, her voice shifting into that bright, artificial tone she uses for videos. "The lighting in here is actually kind of cozy right now. Let's get a family dinner shot for this story. Everyone glasses up." She holds the phone high, angling it so she looks thin and the table looks full. "Raymond, sit up straight," she commands. Lily, big smile. "Show teeth." Charlie, put the fork down. We all shift. We all obey. It is muscle memory by now. "Michelle," she says, her eyes locked on the screen, watching my reflection. "You're doing that thing with your mouth again. You look sour. Can you at least try to look happy? It's Christmas. Smile like you're enjoying your family. Smile like you're enjoying your family." Something inside me snaps. It isn't a loud snap. It isn't a dramatic explosion. It is the sound of a heavy rope finally fraying and breaking under too much weight. I look at the phone, lens pointing at me like a weapon. I look at her perfectly manicured fingers holding it. I look at my son, who is raising his wine glass, forcing a grimace that passes for a smile, desperate to just get the picture over with. I don't smile. Very calmly, I lower my wine glass to the table. I place my fork down on my plate. Clink. "No," I say. It is a quiet word. It barely carries over the table. Rachel keeps the phone up. She laughs, a nervous, confused little sound. "What? Come on, Michelle, don't be difficult. Just one smile. My battery is dying." I said no. I say again. This time, my voice is stronger. It is the voice I used to use when Raymond was a teenager and tried to lie to my face. It is a voice that demands to be heard. Rachel lowers the phone slowly. The smile drops from her face. "Excuse me?" "I won't do it," I say. I fold my hands in my lap because they are starting to shake, and I don't want her to see it. "I will not smile for your camera. I will not pretend that we are a happy family having a perfect Christmas. And I will certainly not be used as a prop in your little puppet show anymore." The table goes deadly silent. The air leaves the room. Even the children stop chewing. "Mom," Raymond hisses, his eyes wide with panic. "What are you doing?" "Stop." "No, Raymond." "I will not stop," I say, turning my gaze to him. He flinches. "You told me, in the pantry, to let it go. You told me to swallow my pride. Well, I'm full. I can't swallow any more." I turn back to Rachel. She looks stunned, her mouth slightly open, offended that her background actor has decided to speak. "You drove here today," I say, looking her right in the eye, "and you didn't come to see me. You came to be seen. There is a difference." "I don't know what you're talking about," Rachel stammers, her face flushing pink. "I post those pictures because I love our family. You're being paranoid." "Do you?" I ask. "Do you love our family? Because last Tuesday, you called me to tell me my home wasn't good enough. You told me to hide my husband's collection, the nutcrackers that my grandchildren love, because they didn't match your outfit. You told me my food was gray and outdated. You treated my home like a studio set that needed to be sanitized. Rachel scoffs, looking at Raymond for backup. Ray, are you hearing this? She's twisting everything. I was just trying to modernize things. And today, I continue ignoring her deflection. You walked into my kitchen, my domain, and you hid my pie. You pushed the work of my hands behind a coffee maker so you could display a store-bought tart that cost more than my first grocery bill. You told your daughter that my food wasn't good enough. You humiliated me, Rachel, in my own house. It was just a pie. Rachel snaps, her voice rising now. My God, you're so sensitive. Everything is a drama with you. And you, I say, whipping my head toward Raymond. He freezes. He looks like a deer caught in headlights. You stood there, I say, my voice trembling with the hurt of it. In the kitchen, in the pantry, and right here at this table. You watched her dismiss me. You watched her insult the home you grew up in. And when I begged you to defend me, you called me dramatic. Mom, not in front of the kids. Raymond whispers, glancing at Lily and Charlie. The kids need to see this. I say firmly. They need to see what happens when you push people too far. They need to know that love is not about hashtags and filters. It is about showing up. It is about respect. I stand up. My legs feel weak, but I lock my knees. I feel 10 feet tall. I have spent 4 years trying to shrink myself to fit into the little box you two have built for me, I say, looking between them. I have bitten my tongue. I have hidden my things. I have cooked what you wanted and smiled when you told me to. But I am done. I am the matriarch of this family. This is my house, and I will not sit at the head of my own table and be treated like an inconvenience. Rachel stares at me. For the first time ever, she doesn't have a comeback. She doesn't have a snarky comment. She looks small. I am not your content, I say, my voice dropping to a whisper. I am your mother, and it breaks my heart that you both forgot that. The silence that follows is absolute. It hangs heavy and thick over the cooling turkey and the unopened wine. The perfect Christmas dinner is over. The truth is finally on the table, and it is uglier than any decoration Rachel could have critiqued. But to me, it feels like the first breath of fresh air I have taken in years. Rachel stares at me. Her mouth is hanging open, her lipstick slightly smudged at the corner. For a moment, she looks less like the polished social media influencer and more like a petulant child who has just been told no for the very first time in her life. The silence in the room is so heavy it feels like it has physical weight pressing down on my chest. Raymond is staring at his wine glass, his face pale, refusing to look at either of us. Then Rachel laughs. It's a sharp, ugly sound. You're joking, she says, looking around the table as if waiting for a hidden camera crew to jump out. This is a joke, right? You're acting like a crazy person. I am not joking, I say. My voice is calm. It surprises me how calm it is. My hands have stopped shaking. I think it is best if you leave. Now, Rachel slams her hand down on the table. The silverware rattles. Are you serious? You are kicking us out. It is Christmas Day, Michelle. We haven't even finished dinner. Dinner is over, I say, gesturing to the cold plates of food that nobody has touched. The appetite is gone. And frankly, the welcome is gone, too. Raymond, Rachel shrieks, turning on him. Are you hearing this? Your mother is throwing us out of the house. Raymond finally looks up. He looks miserable. He looks like a man caught in a trap he built himself. Mom, he starts, his voice pleading. Come on, don't do this. Let's just calm down. We can. No, Raymond, I cut him off. I don't raise my voice, but the firmness in it stops him cold. We cannot just calm down. We cannot just sweep this under the rug like we have done for the last 4 years. The rug is full. There is no more room. I stand there, tall at the head of the table. Please gather your things. Rachel stands up, so abruptly her chair screeches against the hardwood floor. Her face is turning a blotchy red. This is insane. You are ruining Christmas because of a stupid pie? You are being selfish, Michelle. Incredibly selfish. Selfish. I repeat the word. I have given you my home. I have given you my traditions. I have given you my dignity. And today, I am taking the last one back. Rachel narrows her eyes. She realizes that her insults aren't working. She realizes that I am not bending. So, she reaches for the one weapon she knows I cannot fight against. She reaches for the children. She points a manicured finger at Lily and Charlie. You want us to leave? She sneers. Fine. But Lily and Charlie haven't even opened their presents yet. Look at them, Michelle. I look, and my heart shatters into 1,000 pieces. Lily is 10 years old. She understands exactly what is happening. Her big eyes are filled with tears, and her chin is trembling. She looks from her mother to me, confused and scared. Grandma, she whispers. Her voice is tiny. Do we have to go? Did I do something wrong? Charlie, who is only 7, starts to sniffle. But the big box under the tree, that one is mine. You said it was the Lego set. The pain is physical. It feels like a knife twisting in my gut. This is the moment. This is the trap. Every grandmother knows this feeling. We are programmed to protect our grandchildren from pain. We are programmed to sacrifice our own happiness just to see them smile. Rachel sees my hesitation. A smug, little smile touches her lips. She crosses her arms. Go ahead, she challenges me. Tell them. Tell your grandchildren that they can't open their Christmas gifts because grandma's feelings are hurt. Tell them that your pride is more important than their happiness. Go on. The room spins. I look at Lily's tear-streaked face. I want to rush over to her. I want to hug her and say, no, baby, stay. Open the gifts. Grandma is sorry. Grandma will take the abuse. Grandma will be the doormat. Just please don't cry. It would be so easy. All I have to do is sit back down. All I have to do is apologize. All I have to do is let Rachel win, and the kids will be happy. But then I look at Raymond. He is watching me, waiting for me to cave. He expects me to cave. He has watched me swallow my self-respect for years, and he thinks I will do it again. If I give in now, what am I teaching Lily? I look at my granddaughter. If I sit down and accept this treatment, I am teaching her that it is okay for women to be disrespected in their own homes. I am teaching her that keeping the peace is more important than keeping your dignity. I am teaching her that if someone bullies you, you should just smile and take it, as long as they give you a present afterward. I cannot teach her that. I love her too much to teach her that. I take a deep breath. The decision settles in my bones. It is the hardest thing I have ever done. No, I say softly. Rachel's smug smile falters. What? I said no. I say. I turn away from the table and walk toward the Christmas tree. Your monster, Rachel spits out. You're actually going to send them home empty-handed. I ignore her. I kneel down by the tree. My knees crack, but I don't feel it. I start gathering the gifts. There are so many of them. The Lego set for Charlie. The art kit for Lily. The sweaters. The books. I wrapped them all by hand, late at night, thinking about the looks on their faces when they open them. I stack them up. It is a heavy pile. It fills my arms. I stand up and walk back to the table. I stop in front of Raymond. Stand up, I say to him. He stands looking confused. I thrust the stack of gifts into his arms. He stumbles a little under the weight. Take them, I say. My voice is thick with emotion, but I force it to remain steady. Mom. Raymond starts, tears welling in his own eyes now. Take them, I repeat. But they will not be opened in this house. Not today. You are unbelievable, Rachel says, grabbing her coat. Come on, kids. Grandma doesn't want us here. I look at Lily and Charlie. I need them to hear this. I love you, I say to the children, ignoring Rachel. I love you both more than anything in this world. But listen to me. Lily looks at me, tears streaming down her face. You do not let anyone treat you like you are invisible, I say, my voice shaking. Not even family, especially not family. The lesson your parents are teaching you today, that it is okay to be cruel to people who love you, is not welcome in this house. I will not have you watch me be disrespected. Do you understand? Lily doesn't understand. Not really. She is just a child who wants her presence. She starts to sob. I want to stay, she wails. The sound tears through me. Every instinct in my body is screaming at me to stop, to fix it, to surrender. Let's go, Rachel snaps. She grabs Lily by the arm, roughly pulling her toward the door. We are leaving. And don't expect to see us for Easter, Michelle, or Thanksgiving. You have made your choice. I say, and you made yours. Raymond is the last to leave. He stands in the doorway, holding the stack of gifts I bought with my pension money. He looks at me. He looks at the empty chair where his father used to sit. I'm sorry, Mom, he whispers. I know you are, I say quietly. But sorry doesn't change anything, Raymond. Courage does. And you didn't bring any today. He flinches. Then he turns and walks out the door. I stand in the hallway. I watch them go. I watch Rachel herd the crying children into the big black SUV. I watch Raymond struggle to fit the presents into the trunk. I watch the taillights flare red as they back out of the driveway. And then they are gone. The front door is still open, letting in the cold winter air. I gently close it. Click. The silence rushes back in. It is instant and overwhelming. The house is full of the smell of roasting turkey and expensive perfume and failure. I lean my forehead against the cold wood of the door. My legs finally give out, and I slide down until I am sitting on the floor of my foyer. I did it. I stood up for myself. I set the boundary. I demanded respect. But as I sit there on the floor, listening to the echo of my granddaughter crying, I don't feel like a winner. I feel like I have just cut off my own arm to save my life. I look at the empty living room. The tree is still twinkling. The candles are still burning, but the house feels dead. I cover my face with my hands, and for the first time today, I let myself cry. I cry for the little boy Raymond used to be. I cry for the grandmother I wanted to be today. And I cry because I know that doing the right thing can sometimes feel like the worst thing in the world. My hands were shaking when I said those words. It is terrifying to rock the boat after keeping the peace for so long. Have you ever had to make the impossible choice between your dignity and your family? It's the hardest thing a woman can do. Share your experience below. It is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The winter sun is already starting to dip low in the sky, casting long, gray shadows across my dining room floor. The house is silent. I am sitting at the table exactly where I was when the front door closed. The scene in front of me looks like a banquet that was interrupted by an earthquake. The turkey is still sitting on the platter, cold and half-carved. The gravy has formed a skin on top. The wine glasses are half full, with lipstick stains on the rims. And right in the center, that store-bought apple tart sits in its box, untouched, shining under the chandelier lights. I should get up. I should clear the table. I should wrap up the leftovers, run the dishwasher, and scrub the pots. That is what I have done every Christmas for 40 years. The cleanup is usually the time when I feel the most tired, but also the most satisfied. But today, I just sit here. I pick up my wine glass. I take a sip. It's warm, but it still tastes good. For the first time in 4 years, my shoulders are not up by my ears. My stomach isn't twisted in knots. I don't have to force a smile. I don't have to worry about whether my tablecloth is modern enough or if my conversation is boring. I don't have to hold my breath while I wait for the next insult to land. The air in the house feels different. It feels empty, yes, but it also feels clean. It feels like my air again. I look at the empty chair across from me. Well, George, I say aloud to the empty room. I finally did it. I imagine what he would say. He would probably tell me he was proud of me. He would tell me that nobody gets to treat his wife that way. But I also know he would be sad. He loved Christmas. He loved the noise. And that is where the peace starts to crack. I close my eyes, and the silence stops being comforting and starts being loud. I can still hear it. I can hear the sound of Lily's boots dragging on the floor as her mother pulled her away. I can hear Charlie sniffing back tears as he looked at the pile of gifts in Raymond's arms. I replay the look on Raymond's face. It wasn't just embarrassment. It was shock. He truly didn't believe I was capable of doing it. He thought I was a permanent fixture, a piece of furniture that would always be there, no matter how much weight they piled on top of me. He thought my love was a weakness he could exploit forever. I proved him wrong, but the victory feels heavy. I stand up slowly. My knees are stiff. I walk into the kitchen. The oven is off, but the room is still warm. I walk over to the coffee maker. I reach behind it and pull out my pie. The pecans are dark and sticky. The crust is flaky. It is imperfect. It is messy. I grab a knife and cut myself a slice. I don't bother with a plate. I just pick it up with a napkin. I take a bite. It tastes like brown sugar and butter and memory. It tastes like the Christmases when Raymond was a boy, before the world got so complicated, before Instagram, before aesthetics. It tastes like love. I lean against the counter and chew slowly, looking out the window at the empty driveway. I have my dignity. I know that. I drew a line in the sand today that should have been drawn years ago. I taught my son that I am a person, not a doormat. I taught my daughter-in-law that she cannot come into my house and erase me. But I also sent my grandchildren home on Christmas Day with tears in their eyes. I imagine them in the car right now. Is Rachel yelling? Is Raymond staring out the window in silence? Are the kids asking why Grandma is so mean? That thought terrifies me. What if they don't understand? What if they grow up thinking I didn't love them? What if this is the last Christmas they ever spend in this house? I put the rest of the pie down. Suddenly, I'm not hungry anymore. I walk back into the living room. The tree is twinkling. The 3 white candles Rachel made me put out are burning low. I blow them out, one by one. Smoke curls up into the air. Then, I walk to the hall closet. I open the door and pull out the cardboard box. I take out the first nutcracker, the one with the velvet cape. I place him back on the console table. Then I get the next one, and the next one. I put them all back, all 20 of them. They stand there, wooden and stoic, guarding the entryway. They look cluttered. They look tacky. They look perfect. I sit down on the bench next to them. I am alone. I am sad, but I am free. Now, I need to ask you something. I am sharing this story because I know I am not the only one. I know there are thousands of women sitting in their homes right now, feeling invisible, feeling used, feeling like they have to apologize for existing in their own families. I sat alone in my quiet house, looking at the half-eaten turkey. I knew I stood up for myself, but I can still hear my granddaughter crying as they walked to the car. Did I go too far? Should I have swallowed my pride for a few more hours to let the kids open their presents? Should I have let Rachel hide my pie and insult my home just to keep the peace for one more day? Was I right to show them that disrespect has consequences? Or was I selfish to punish the children for the sins of their parents? Please tell me in the comments below. I truly need to know what you would have done if you were in my shoes. Did I punish the innocent? Or did I protect my dignity? If you have ever felt like you had to choose between your self-respect and your family, please hit the like button on this video. It helps me feel less alone. And please share this story with a friend who might need to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We need to stick together. I'll be reading your comments. Make sure you click on the next video on your screen right now. Thank you for listening. Merry Christmas.